all the artists that are here. It's not just us with artwork on display. Thanks for coming out. We're honored you would come and see what's on the walls and hear what we have to say. Probably the most frequently asked question I get when I'm out painting on location is, how long did that take you? And the other artists are chuckling here. Usually I have no idea, so I say that. I struck a time. I've also heard everyone seems to have a cousin or an aunt who is an artist who owns a ceramics studio in Pittsburgh or something to that effect. Probably my favorite story, though, was actually an interaction with a little boy while I was painting down in Carytown. There's three. My works are on this wall over here, and three of them were painted on the corner of Shepherd Street and Cary Street down in Carytown, Richmond. And a little boy and his dad came by, and the dad picked up a little boy and stood behind me and watched what I was doing, and didn't really say much. Went on their way. About 30 minutes later, they came back by, and the little boy had a little piece of paper, and he opened it up, and it was a little drawing he had done, and he wanted to show me. And I wasn't quite sure what the drawing was. So the dad said, "This is a snake here, and these are trees, and here's a tiger, and there's a jungle scene." And so anyway, it just meant a lot that some small way inspired him to draw, and then he wanted to show it to me. So anyway, Dan has his bug spray down there. I thought he would touch something about the battling of the elements. So why paint outside? It's very difficult. The light is changing. No two moments are the same. You've got the heat, you've got the sun, you've got the cold, you've got the mosquitoes, you've got the folks stopping to tell you how to do it, or just want to talk and tell stories. It's great to interact with the public, but it's very distracting. So why paint outside when there are so many distractions? To answer that question, I've got to back up to why I paint at all. And there is a quote by Clyde Kilby, which is actually one of the ways that I seek to live my life. He says, "Resolved, at least once every day I shall look steadily up at the sky, and I will remember that I, a consciousness with a conscience, am on a planet, traveling in space with wonderfully mysterious things above and about me." And that quote just sums up so well. I believe that the world was created by an intelligent creator, God, and that the heavens and the earth are declaring His glory. In some small way, I feel like I can worship Him and adore Him by studying His works and trying to put that on canvas for y'all to see. And so why paint outside? There is, for years, I mostly painted indoors in my studio for photographs, and you get some of the sense of wonder, but there is a lot that is missed from painting outside. It's an incredible thing to think about how the light and the colors actually affect human emotions, if you think about that, and especially when you're outside, and every instant the light has changed. It's something completely different on every place where you are on planet Earth. And there's a way that it seems like when you're out on location painting, as you see it changing and trying to interact and having this emotional experience, seeing the light, there is a greater life that is painted into the paintings. So that's the reason that I paint outside. So I've got 20-some paintings here. In the month of June, my friend Carter Stewart and I challenged ourselves to paint 30 paintings in 30 days. Not all 30 made it here. Some were commissions, and some just turned into other paintings. But there's a story in the book Art and Fear about a ceramics professor who performed an experiment on his students. He divided the class up into two groups. One group, he said, you're going to be graded solely on the quantity of pots that you produce. And the other group, he said, you are going to be graded on one pot. So while the one group was busy churning out work, The other group was sitting and theorizing what is the perfect pot, drawing out plans, and at the end of the semester, the professor found that the better work came from the quantity group than the quality group. And so this is something that can apply to any field you're in, computer programming, or for my case, painting. Yes, exactly. 30 paintings in 30 days. I've got to check what was next. What was I going to say? So yes, okay. As a plein air painter, a lot of times we will be sitting in our studio just kind of waiting for those, the perfect conditions to go out and paint. Perfect lighting, perfect weather, perfect location, and instead of just going out and doing the work. And this just forced us to get out and actually do that work. A couple of those paintings were actually during a week that my family spent at the beach, so it was super easy to pick a subject matter because it was sky, water, and seashore, and it just add it all together, you got a painting. Other times it's a little bit more difficult to figure out where you're going to paint. So I actually have a hunting license from the Watkins Nurseries in Southside, and it's crossed out for painting. But so actually try not to go the hours that the hunters were allowed to go. But I was driving out 360 to one of their properties, beautiful, just rolling hills and lakes. And actually, I didn't make it there. The light on the side of the little red barn there at the bottom caught my eye, and I just pulled off on the side of the road. So you can find inspiration anywhere you go. And actually, after I finished, it was Skin Quarter Farmers Market, and after I finished, the owner drove across the parking lot, handed me a little thing of strawberries, and they're great. They're great. I ate like half of them on the way home. Anyway, so a little bit about my process. So I obviously break this down. It's in a little bag that's behind the desk, but open the easel up. When I get out, I usually kind of squint around looking for a spot that inspires me that I want to paint, and I usually go with my second instinct instead of my first, and I should go with my first. But anyway, that's how it goes sometimes. You overthink it. And then, so I will either just kind of isolate a spot, a composition with my hands, or I will use my smartphone to take a photo. And then after that, I will go to, for this particular one, draw what I call a thumbnail sketch, what we all of us artists call a thumbnail sketch. And I kind of move the elements around a little bit after that. From then, this is this is the ugly stage. So I take a mixture of alizarin crimson and burnt umber, and I do my underpainting here, and then I add in my darks. Anything that moves, that I think is going to move, you put in that first, because it's not going to be the same, and then you stick with that. You stick with what you had down. You don't start changing it as you go, because you just end up with mud. So, so this was a location out in Powhatan. A friend of mine's grandmother's sunflower field, and it's really fun painting rural locations. So many people will just stop on the side of the road and be like, hey, so I met the taxidermist that is in Powhatan. They asked me to do a mural on the side of their building, so anyway, we'll see what happens to that. And I actually met the man who planted this field, stopped by and saw it too, so that was really special. Anyway, so there's a little story behind each one of the pieces that are up there, because it's always an adventure. So if you see one that you want to hear a little, some are more interesting than others, but feel free to ask. So anyway, thanks so much. Thanks for listening.